Hello everybody. First of all, congratulations, you survived another 2 days in lockdown. My name's Tom. I'm going to create here another beautiful dish for you to try at home. Now today we're doing a lovely beef salad, Thai style. It's a dish inspired by a friend of mine I used to work with at Nobu. It wasn't actually a Nobu dish, it was something he used to prepare for the staff, and we were all very excited when he was on staff food. It's very, very simple. It's gluten-free, dairy-free. You can do it without the beef. I'll run through some options at the end if you're vegetarian that you could, you can substitute it for. Okay, so first of all, because there's a lot of chopping and slicing in this dish, I'm going to chop with my knife. So I recommend for you guys at home, put the point on the board, 45-degree angle, and just one on each side, nice and steady. I mean, me been doing it for 20 years. I'm just going to get it done properly. Okay, so all you're going to need to prepare this dish is a couple of bowls. I've got a large one to prepare the salad in. I've got a smaller one to dress the beef in later on, and then 1 pan of boiling water. Try and have a pan large enough that you can fit your smallest sort of colander into, because it's a lot easier and quicker to take the beef out. It's going to be blanched very, very quickly. So there's very little fat in it, there's no frying involved. We're just going to dress the beef with a little bit of sesame oil. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is take a cucumber. And you're just going to slice it as thinly as you can into round slices. I'm going to use a whole cucumber here for 2 portions, because as we add the salt and the soy sauce and everything else, it's going to soften right up, and you'll be surprised, you don't get as much out of it as it looks. Okay, so now we've got the cucumber slice, that's going to go straight into the large bowl. There it goes. And then I've got 1 red onion. Same thing, top and tail it. Because we're going to slice it, you can take the root end off. Normally when I dice an onion, I leave it on to hold the thing together. Get rid of the skin. Okay, and then we're going to take each half and cut it straight down the middle. And then I just take the very middle bit out, just the core out, so you've got a nice flat, easy to cut piece, and you don't get big thick chunks at the bottom. We'll do that with all 4 quarters. Set that aside. And then with each one, again, much like the cucumber, slice it really thinly from the lengthways. The thinner you slice it, the better it'll be. I mean, it doesn't matter hugely. I mean, I'm not expecting everyone to have perfect knife skills. I've been doing this for 20 years, but you want to take your time and try and get it really thin, or if you really want to, you could peel the cucumber into strips with a peeler, or you could slice it on what we call a Japanese mandolin, which is a hand slicing device. So, onions in with the cucumber. Now we're starting to build up the salad. So then I've got some spring onions. I'm using 3 sort of largish spring onions. You're going to start at the green end, take the very top of it off. And we're just going to slice the green, again very thin. Until you get to the white bit. Now the green slices we're going to keep for later and use it to garnish the top of the salad. And then the white, you can slice it slightly thicker, but not too thick, so you get a nice texture to it. So that can go straight in with the cucumber and onion. And then next we got 2 red chilies. I mean, again, with the chilies, you can use whatever chilies you want. Depending on how hot you like it. So again, I like to keep it round. You can slice it on an angle if you like, but I quite like the shape. Keep it all the same. These do look quite punchy, so I think this will be quite hot. Okay, so then we're going to take some fresh coriander. And this time we are going to take just the thicker stalks off it, because these ones are a little bit thicker. Don't throw the stalk away, because again, like I said before, there's a lot of flavour in the stalk. So keep back a good amount of just the leaves to garnish the dish at the end with. Roll it all up with the stalks lengthways in the middle. Try and pack it together quite tight, but without pressing so hard that you're going to bruise it. And and then just slice it all up, and then into the bowl for the salad. Okay, so at this point, I have somewhere a small tray. I'm going to put a handful, 2 tablespoons of peanuts, just normal blanched peanuts from the supermarket, into a hot oven for sort of 1 to 2 minutes, just again to bring out the oils and bring out the flavour. So now we've got all of the ingredients in the salad ready to go, we're going to start dressing it. So for this, I've got some soy sauce and I've got some yuzu juice. Now this is fantastic stuff. We used to use it a lot in Nobu. It's a citrus fruit. Sort of, I'd say the best way to explain the flavour is somewhere in between a lime and a clementine or satsuma. It's like a very fruity but very sour, but amazing flavour. Now if you can't, they do sell it in Waitrose, where I've got this one. If you can't get it, then lime juice will be fine as well. So I'm going to go in with about half a bottle of that. We want quite a bit, because we want it to give that really fresh punch, which will counteract the chilies a little bit. And then we're going to add to that some soy sauce. Again, 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. Good pinch of sea salt. And lots of black pepper. And then give it a good mix with your hands, trying to break up all of the onion into separate slices, separate strands. Okay, so that looks lovely. Lots of colour, very vibrant, fresh and zesty. Again, this dish is perfect for brightening up one of these cold winter Saturday afternoons. I mean, it'd be awesome in the summer. You could eat it with prawns, you could eat it with anything really, chicken, prawns. But today I'm using beef, because that's how Dan used to make it. And then we're going to slice the beef very slowly. Now I've got a rump steak and a ribeye steak. You can use either. I mean, I'd say the rump's probably better. It's less fatty, it's better for something like this. Cut it into nice thin slices. Any sort of sinew on the outside, we're going to remove that, because the beef is going to be cooked very, very quickly in boiling water, so you don't want anything that's going to go chewy. So just trim that bit off as well. And then we're going to slice that again, probably into 3 if it's this sort of thickness. So what you end up with, nice thin strands like that. And at this point, I'm just going to chuck my peanuts in the oven. You can just see the oil starting to come out of them and starting to get a little bit golden brown. So we're going to set them aside to cool down. And as you can see, now I'm slicing the meat. We've got my lovely two dogs here to come and sniff it out. This is Freya, is the Staffy Cross American Bulldog, and little Lenny, my Jack Russell, always around me while I'm cooking. Okay, and then with the ribeye steak, again, like I said before, we just want to remove any fat and sinew. I mean, with this you will get a bit more fat through the meat. It's a slightly more flavoursome cut, but like I say, you're adding so much flavour to this dish. You know, I'd say rump's probably a bit better and probably cheaper, but I thought I'd show you both. So we're just going to remove any of the sinew, leaving just the eye of the meat and a nice piece of meat around the outside. And I think that's what the dogs know, because they're going to get this bit. Okay, so once we've got all the beef cut, like I said earlier, I've got a very large pan of boiling water on the stove. I'm going to turn it up and get it boiling rapidly. And at this point, we're going to add some sea salt. Okay, so we've got the ribeye and the rump. Got that there ready to go. And while we're waiting for that to come up to the boil, set that aside for the dogs later on. While we're waiting for that to come to the boil, I'm just going to take the peanuts that we've roasted earlier, put them onto the chopping board, Again, you can just leave them out if if there's any allergies or anything. It's just to give a bit of texture to the dish. You can actually use a bit of fried rice if you wanted to, like boil the rice and then fry it in very hot oil, and you get a nice crisp to it. That works very well as well. And just chop it roughly, because you want to keep them quite chunky but not whole. And generally, when you put some pressure on them, they split in half, and one cut for each one's enough. I know it takes a little bit more time than you can put them in the blender or you can smash them in a pestle and mortar, but then you tend to end up with a bit more of a paste. The oil starts to come out of it a bit too much, so I like to chop them by hand. Okay, so now the water's boiling. We've got all of the garnish on the top to finish the top of the dish here, and the salad is ready and dressed. And as you'll notice, the cucumber is really starting to soften up now, and I think that's the citrus from the yuzu juice and the salt is really working its magic to bring out all the flavour. Okay, so take the beef. I'm taking the rump. I mean, you cook it exactly the same way, whatever cut of meat you're using. You can use fillet as well, but I think it's a bit pricey. I believe that's what we used to make, what Dan used to make it with at Nobu, purely because we served so many fillet teriyaki steaks that we always had the trimmings from the tail, and that's what he used to make it out of. But for this purpose, shopping in the supermarkets, you're much better off using rump. So this, we're literally just going to dip it into the salted boiling water for 2 seconds. But before I do that, take a bit of kitchen roll, put it on the plate like that, ready to drain the meat on. So, straight in, little stir, and just as you see all the pink disappear, straight back out again. Literally, that is it. That's all the cooking involved. Onto the paper. If you like it more cooked, you can cook it more. But because of this sort of technique of cooking it, you want to do it very quickly, because you see it still just falls apart. It'll be so tender. And like I say, there's no fat involved in it, so it's still very healthy. So that goes into the smaller bowl. And then in order to dress this, we're going to take the sesame oil, just a tablespoon and a half of sesame oil, some sesame seeds, you can use white or black, a tablespoon of those, pinch of salt, plenty of black pepper. And to the beef, we're going to add the green tops from the spring onions. Okay, and then just give that a good mix, just to get the sesame oil to coat it all the way over the top. Okay. Okay, so then that is all the components ready there. So now it's time to plate up. Nice polish on the edges of the plate. Okay, so first we're going to lay down the cucumber. And a nice and flat. Try and get a bit of everything on the plate, so it's nice and colourful. And spread it right out to cover the baked part of the plate. It eats a lot better like that than if you pile it up in the middle like you would with some more Western salads. And then the remainder of the dressing, just pour it over the top. You want all of that flavour on there. My hands a quick rinse. And then for the beef, so the beef's still nice and warm, nicely dressed, nicely coated, just lay that over the top. And it's a good way to use one steak to get two nice lunches out, or you can have it as a starter before a meal. Perfect. Great, and then just to finish, toasted peanuts over the top. And then the fresh coriander over the top of that. And then just a last little drizzle of the sesame oil. And that is it, simple as that. So that is a Thai-style beef salad with cucumber, red onion, chilli and peanuts. Absolutely delicious. And once again, courtesy of Mr. Simon Wilson White, something to drink with this. Something similar with a low alcohol content to go with the spiciness of the dish, and something very aromatic to go with all the strong flavours, but go with something drier rather than medium. I would go with Rhine or Mosel Riesling would be perfect. I've been Tom from the 7 Tons in Chedworth, from my home to yours. Thank you for watching.